Hello everyone out there, welcome back to the Phantoms Fanatic YouTube channel, blah blah blah. This week we are reviewing Reinfield, released this year in 2023, starring Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult, Awkwafina, Ben Schwartz, Brandon Scott Jones, and it was directed by Chris McKay. The plot of Reinfield is that Sir Robert Montague Reinfield is the familiar to Count Dracula, played by Nicolas Cage, as he's finally getting tired of becoming his fetch servant, mainly due out of fear because he's a codependent. He starts going to a meeting, a support group, I guess, that helps get people out of toxic relationships. But as he's trying to look for more food for his master, he then meets a cop played by Awkwafina who stands up to the gang organization, and that gives him the motivation to stand up to his oppressor. And you get a fun, very stylized movie, but it is very unfocused. So, Nick Cage finally returns in a vampire movie. The one before this was Vampire's Kiss, and, you know, with Vampire's Kiss having scenes like this,
I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
or scenes like that,
Very good. You know your alphabet.
I never misspelled anything! Not once! Not one time!
or my favorite scene, this one.
Well, I did rape someone a couple nights ago. Girl at the office, I just lost control.
Obviously, Nicolas Cage playing vampires is very entertaining, and that is one of the best parts of this movie, is Nicolas Cage as Count Dracula. One thing that I really gotta say that I do enjoy about this movie is the performances. They sell a lot of the comedy here, because this movie, from the trailer, is very goofy. That is obvious. The film is less goofy than the trailer let on. There were some moments in the trailer where, like, it shows, like, the flashback scene of him with the priest, and the priest is like, "You have the sanctity of the most trusted institution, the Catholic Church." And I was like, oh my god, don't tell me that every line is like this. They're not all like that, but there are some jokes that don't land exactly, but there's enough that I think that I was relatively entertained throughout. But most of that is due to the performances here. There's a lot of things to like in this film, because you have Nicholas Hoult, who's a very charming actor, and I really do enjoy him. I enjoyed him as Tyler in The Menu, or as Nux in Mad Max Fury Road, and you have him bouncing off of Nicolas Cage playing Count Dracula, who, no matter when Nicolas Cage is on screen in this, I am all for it. He is so over the top in this, but I feel like when you get Nicolas Cage playing Count Dracula, you expect this performance, and I absolutely fucking love this performance. And the rapport between two of them, especially with Reinfield being a codependent, as they say in the film, does work. The acting shows this, and especially in like a flashback scene in the beginning where Renfield's explaining exactly why he's staying with Dracula. There's a funny enough scene where he's like, "Reinfield, I'm the only one who will care about you." And it's like, no matter when Nicolas Cage is on screen in this, I am always engaged. And the commentary about dealing with your oppressor or stuff like that, I think it's done well, especially when you get the interactions between Reinfield and Dracula. Probably my favorite scene in this is when Reinfield's in a new apartment and Dracula comes talking to him. The rapport between them is so entertaining, especially because Nicolas Cage is acting his ass off, but Nicholas Hoult is also matching him with the more timid Reinfield, who is an out-of-shape person, not an out-of-place person in this modern world, because he's a guy from the 1900s who has survived this long. And I really enjoy that scene between two of them, especially when he's in these meetings. There's a good amount of comedy that lands, not all of it. I will say, I feel like they focus way too much on those meetings. I feel like it's funny enough and the actors in the scenes sell it. But I feel like maybe if they were to focus more on Renfield with Dracula so we get more of it, I think that would be better. Not saying they don't focus it at all, because I feel like they do a good job of making you feel for Renfield, because he talks about his wife and child that he left behind. And to Awkwafina's character, who is a cop that is standing up against this corrupt regime in her city, and I think that works. I think the relationship between the cop and Renfield, to why they have such a connection, and I think the acting between Awkwafina and Nicholas Hoult sells that as well. My main problem with this film is the fact that I feel like this film is very unfocused, because you got this decent idea of Renfield being a codependent, being under the servitude of Dracula for 90 years, because he, because Dracula convinced him to become his, familiar and stuff, and he gets, superpowers whenever he eats a bug and his eyes glow, which is a cool idea that each time he eats it, his eyes glow, and I like the little detail that he grabs him out of a little coffin, because that's a reference to the original Dracula, where you see a bee fly out of a little coffin. I like those moments. But where I think the film falls apart is I feel like it focuses way too much on this crime subplot of Awkwafina trying to figure out what the problem with these, mafia family is, and trying to, stop them because her father died, which is explained only in exposition, and I don't think it works the best. I enjoyed Awkwafina in this. I can see people not enjoying her because she's doing her Awkwafina stick, but I feel like she's very likable in this as well. But I feel like either just have the movie with Awkwafina going up against these mob members as a dark comedy cop film, or just focus on Renfield and Dracula. The trailer made it seem like he's gonna he saves Awkwafina's character, and maybe they just form a bond, but then it's mainly focused on Dracula and Renfield. That is not the film. Both sides of it are fighting for each other so much, and I feel like it gets very distracted. And as I said, not all the comedy lands. A good amount of it does, but not enough to where I'm super entertained throughout it. The running time is only 90 minutes. This film goes by pretty quick, in my opinion. And it does have a lot of fun action scenes, where the effects, yes, the CGI blood in this may not be the best, but I feel like the effects may not be the best in this, but I feel like it's trying to go for a more stylized gore, where it's an anime or super over-the-top shit where somebody's head gets punched off and just blood skyrockets out of it. It can be entertaining with that. And early on, you get some really good makeup effects on, regenerating Dracula, which I really enjoyed. The effect on that was really good. I wish we got maybe more of that, and maybe more time focused on Renfield and Dracula's relationship. As I said, the action scenes in this are entertaining and very well directed, especially near the end. And some of the side characters, like the leader of the, support group that Renfield goes to, are entertaining characters. I enjoy his performance, and especially the fact that the whole joke is they just think he's talking about, a dickhead boss, when it's more like this supernatural demon entity, practically, that is attacking him and destroying his life and keeping him substitute. I do feel like some of the dialogue where Renfield's you are an abuser, I will not take this. And it's I get what the joke they're doing there, but it kind of just feels obvious and out there. I maybe wish they... Another side character who I don't mind, even though I think that part of the film could be trimmed a lot more down, is Ben Schwartz's character. I think his performance really brings a lot to the character of this, mafia henchman to his crime family. He's entertaining in it, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like the film is fighting between two different halves, between this cop action comedy movie with Awkwafina and then the whatever movie we're getting between Renfield and Dracula, call back to classic Universal movies. I do feel like the film is fighting with itself there, and it does knock your enjoyment, to where, as I'm listening to Awkwafina explain her backstory and stuff like that, to explaining her motivations, I'm taking out of it because I'm just noting this cookie cutter dialogue that could be way better, especially because you have very charismatic actors in this. As I said, I do think this film does suffer a lot because of those reasons, but there are still things that I enjoyed about this. I enjoyed the action scenes. They are very creative and entertaining. The direction is very stylized, but also very enjoyable. And it's very comic booky, which makes sense because the guy who wrote this wrote The Walking Dead, wrote Invincible and stuff like that. All comic books. But I do think this film does suffer from the fact that it focuses on one thing, when I feel like if it were to focus on the main idea of the film that it was presenting, it would have been way more entertaining, engaging, and even thought-provoking with this commentary. But overall, I feel like the end result is still an entertaining watch. If you like Nicolas Cage, if you like Nicholas Hoult, if you like Awkwafina, you're going to enjoy this film. The trailer does lie to you in multiple ways. As I said, it seems like you're going to focus on Renfield and Dracula more. It's not necessarily that, and I will say it does have better jokes than the trailer was letting on. As I said, I do wish that maybe the end result was more of an entertaining film to watch, but overall, I had a fun time with it. I do recommend this if you saw the trailer, if you think you'll like the stylization. If you can't get into it, I can see that. But if you like Nicolas Cage, you see the trailer, there's some parts of it that you'll like. Maybe go see it in the theaters. There's good cinematography. The action scenes are well shot. Maybe see it a matinee or a cheap, like, $5 movie day. Or just wait for it to come out on streaming. It is worth a watch, though, I think. It's 90 minutes, and I think it's relatively entertaining and will keep your attention throughout due to how many action scenes are in it. But I think I give it the recommend. But Renfield, in the rating section, will score 3 juicy, tasty spiders that will give you superpowers out of 5. I did enjoy this one more than the Mario movie. There were aspects of this that I enjoyed more of it, but overall I feel like for what it was trying to do, it did fail in some retrospects. So I think a 3 out of 5 gives it an even score. So that's what I'll give it. But anyways, what did you guys think of Renfield? Did you think it was entertaining? Did you not? Did you think it was just really bad? Because a lot of people do think that. So leave those in the comment sections if you have any thoughts on my opinion or the review in general. Leave those down there as well. Please make sure to like, subscribe, check out the channel. You know, I put a lot of work into stuff. We have the Meandering Conversations podcast. I've been streaming Resident Evil 4, and I have these reviews, which the next review will be of Evil Dead Rise. But until then, I will see you all next time. The Dark Lord of Death. See ya.